Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel. So today we're going to continue with the solo training series from home. I'm going to show how to do a sit-up Kimura from the closed guard using a grappling dummy. So stay tuned and let's get some training in. All right guys, so we're going to start with our opponent in our closed guard, elbows in like they would typically be, nice posture. So what we want to do is we want to isolate an arm, and we want that arm off of our body. Preferably we want him to put his hand on one side of the mat. So when this happens, we're going to control the wrist, and then that's when we're going to lift our hips, sit up, go over, and start setting up our Kimura for the finish. So the basic way to get them to put their hands on the mat is to do a swim under technique. So I'm going to go 2 under, swim, bring it around, and I'm going to force a hand on the side of the mat. So I'm going to go here, swim. When I swim under, 2 under, I'm going to use my legs to pull him here. Once his hand hits the mat, I'm going to control at the wrist. And then this is when I'm going to go over, grip, and grab my own wrist. Key to this is to sit up. So when I sit up, I want my hips to be off the ground. I want my hips to be above his hips. I almost want to hit him with my hips. So I'm going to open my guard, put my foot down. This is going to help me get the momentum to go over. And I'm going to take my hips and hit him in the chest. Here. My hand is going to go over the back of his arm, underneath, and I'm going to figure 4 on my wrist. So my hips are still high. I have space here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the elbow right here, and I want to keep it nice and tight to my chest. So here, I'm going to bring this nice and tight to my chest. When I go to start to finish the Kimura grip, I'm going to go back to my back, but I'm going to start to turn the angle. My right foot is going to go into his left hip. My left leg is going to start to go over his back, and that's going to keep his posture down. So as I start to go for the finish here, when I rotate, I'm keeping this nice and tight to my chest. Right foot goes to the hip. As I come up, left leg goes to the back. And what I'm going to do is keep this nice and tight. I don't want all this space. This is bad. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to use my whole upper body to turn until he taps. So I'm not doing this. This gives a lot of flexibility to the joint. I want to isolate the joint. I want the joint to be tight, and I want to use my whole body, 2 arms and my torso, to turn to finish this Kimura. So again, elbows on the inside, closed guard. I need him to get 1 on the other side. So I'm gonna go swim under, swim, pull with my legs, swim underneath, isolate. Once I get this, I'm gonna start to reach over. So as soon as this hits the mat, opening my guard, my right foot goes on the ground, I'm coming up, I'm hitting him. Later on, we'll go over a hip bump sweep, but for now, controlling the wrist. I go underneath, figure 4, and I want to hug this to my chest. I'm gluing my chest, so when I figure 4, I'm sucking the arm to my chest. As I start to go back to my back, when I'm going back, right foot's going to go into the hip. Here, this is going to keep pressure on his hip. Left leg's going to go on his back. I don't want him to posture up. I don't want him to get his posture, and I don't want him to be able to scramble. So from here, using my whole torso plus my 2 arms. Here, rotating for the finish. Nice and tight. On a real person, what you would do is rev the wrist. So you would take the left hand grip, roll the wrist forward, which is going to tighten the arm, and then finish. So you roll the wrist forward, finish. All right, so from this angle, same thing. We're gonna do the basic swim under technique. So I'm gonna go under, swim, pull with my legs. Here, control the wrist, open my guard, and I'm gonna hit him with my hips. Here, this gives me momentum to come underneath. Figure 4, suck the tricep elbow area to my chest. As I go to finish this Kimura, Right foot goes in the hip. Left leg goes on the back. You can rev the wrist forward. Use your whole body, 2 arms and torso. Finish this submission. So again, swim underneath. Here. Coming up. I'm using this momentum to really get a nice punch on this. Figure 4, nice and tight. Foot goes in the hip. This helps me turn. The foot and the hip helps you turn to go parallel to finish the submission. So I'm roll the wrist, nice and tight, finish the Kimura. So from this angle, same thing, we're gonna swim underneath, swim, pull with my legs. Isolate the wrist, I'm gonna open my guard and sit up. Here, see how high I'm bringing my hips. My hips are not down here. This is no good. You want them high, you wanna hit them. Give them a nice bump. Figure 4, nice and tight to the chest. As I come down, notice my right leg goes in the hip, left leg comes over the back. This helps me turn to get the torque that I need to finish. Again, swim underneath, pull with my legs, isolate the wrist, hit him with my hips, come underneath, figure 4, right leg goes into the hip, this helps me turn, left leg goes to the back, roll the wrist, use my whole body, finish the submission. All right, guys, so that was a Kimura submission from the closed guard using a grappling dummy. So please rep it, do it on both sides, train as much as you want, use these techniques to really get the details of going over, lifting your hips, securing the grip, using your whole torso to finish the submission instead of your arms. Sometimes you're gonna get some guys who are really flexible or guys that are really strong and you're not gonna be able to use your arms, just your arm strength. You wanna use your whole body. And also, a key detail is make sure when you sit up that you bring your hips up and hit them with your hips. That's gonna benefit you when we go over the hip bump sweep. Same mechanism, except you're not finishing the Kimura. You wanna lift your hips, hit them with your hips. Make them be off balance. So anyway, but guys, please like, subscribe, drop me a comment. Let me know if you wanna see something specific or any other details, and I'll go over it. Thanks.